Panama Papers. FIFA ethics lawyer Juan Pedro Damiani under internal investigation. This is from the 3rd of April 2016. FIFA is facing fresh embarrassment just 6 weeks after Gianni Infantino took over as president of World Football's governing body and pledged to clean up the crisis-hit organisation. A key member of his ethics committee, Uruguayan lawyer Juan Pedro Damiani, is being internally investigated for links with Eugenio Figueiredo, an allegedly corrupt football official. Damiani has acted in sensitive ethics cases involving leading football officials since July 2012. Part of a huge tranche of leaked documents seen by the BBC suggests Damiani and his firm provided legal assistance for at least 7 offshore companies linked to Figueiredo, a former FIFA vice president who was arrested last May in Zurich as part of the US inquiry into football corruption. We went over this ad verbatim. YouTube.com/pitch talk. There's a couple of ROTWs and push points as well, because we did special features segments bringing you up to speed on the FIFA corruption scandal and the arrest that happened last year before the election. So for more information on that, youtube.com/pitch talk. Figueiredo was charged by US authorities with wire fraud and money laundering for his role in the alleged bribery conspiracy. Despite that, he was extradited to Uruguay in December, where he was also wanted on similar charges. Discovery of his links to Damiani are the result of a leak of over 11 million documents from the internal files of Mossack Fonseca, a Panama-based law firm that specializes in helping the wealthy and powerful set up offshore companies. Now, you might have heard that name in regards to, Prime Minister David Cameron. It's one of them. This is wide-ranging and ranges. It's a lot wider than football, let me put it that way. The documents were obtained by a German newspaper and shared with the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, ICIJ. BBC, Panorama and The Guardian newspaper are among 107 media organisations in 78 countries which have been analysing the documents. The records do not show illegal conduct by Damiani or his law firm, but a spokesman for FIFA's Ethics Investigatory Committee told the BBC in a statement, "We can confirm on the 19th of March the investigatory chamber of the Independent Ethics Committee was informed by the chairman of the adjudicatory chamber, Hans Joachim Eckert, about becoming recently aware of a business relationship between the member of the adjudicatory chamber, Juan Pedro Damiani, and Eugenio Figueiredo Aguirre. After receiving the information, Dr. Cornel Borbeli, chairman of the investigatory chamber of the Ethics Committee, has immediately opened a preliminary investigation to review the allegations in question. Dr. Borbeli is currently looking into said allegations in order to determine if there is a breach against the FIFA Code of Ethics and decide any further measures." FIFA President Infantino has spoken repeatedly of a new era for football after being elected as Sepp Blatter's successor in February. The leaked documents linking Damiani to Figueiredo are likely to therefore raise questions over the strength of FIFA's background checks into ethics committee members. In addition, 2 other executives charged in connection with US football corruption probe have links to Damiani's legal and accountancy firm. Hugo Jinkis and his son Mariano Jinkis are currently under house arrest in their native Argentina, fighting an extradition request to the US on corruption charges. They are mentioned in correspondence between Mossack Fonseca and Damiani's law firm regarding an offshore company they owned called Cross Trading. Cross Trading was originally incorporated in 1998 on the Pacific island of Niue. It then relocated to Nevada, USA in 2006 as Cross Trading LLC, and the leaked papers list Hugo Jinkis as a beneficiary of the company, and the record suggests that Damiani's law firm provided services for Cross Trading while it was in Niue as well as in Nevada as well. According to the leaked documents, Damiani and his law firm, JP Damiano and Associados, have acted on behalf of hundreds of companies registered with Mossack Fonseca. Now, 2 days later, 5th April 2016, FIFA President Gianni Infantino was denied wrongdoing after leaked documents suggested he signed off on a contract with 2 businessmen who have since been accused of bribery. This is where Jinkis, the two Jinkis guys get linked into this, because because Hugo and Mariano Jinkis bought TV rights for UEFA Champions League football and immediately sold them on for almost 3 times the price. The 2006 contract was signed off by Infantino when he was a UEFA director. Infantino says he is dismayed that his integrity is being doubted. News of the contract came to light after 11 million documents were leaked from the Panamanian law firm Mossack Fonseca, as we mentioned a minute ago. UEFA initially denied doing business with any of the 14 people who have been indicted by the FBI in its investigation into corruption in world football. But it's now told the BBC that the TV rights were sold to the highest bidder in an open and competitive tender process. A senior FIFA source has told the BBC the deal should be examined by the governing body's ethics committee in the interest of transparency. Now, I said UEFA says it's done nothing wrong and dealt with cross-trading because the company was acting as the buying agents for Telia Mazonas. And basically, Infantino is named on a contract with cross-trading that concerns the Ecuadorian rights for the UEFA Champions League football between 2006-07 and 2008-09. Cross-trading, an offshore company registered to the tiny Pacific island of Niue, paid $111,000, £78,000 for those rights. According to the leaked documents, it sold them to Ecuadorian TV broadcaster Telia Mazonas for £220,000, and cross-trading also paid £20,000 for the rights to the UEFA Super Cup, selling those to the same company, to the Ecuadorian TV company, for $89,000. So it's one of them was there's no evidence to suggest Infantino received a bribe relating to the 06 contract with cross-trading, and no suggestion Telemazonas was in any way complicit in any wrongdoing. But the fact of the matter is, it is one of them ones where names are being linked around. So that is what is happening. So it is one of them ones where is one that was the TV contract in question was signed by Gianni Infantino, since he was one of several UEFA directors empowered to sign contracts at the time, said the UEFA statement. As you will have observed, the contract was also co-signed by another UEFA director. It's standard practice. They have also said in relation to denying having dealings with any of the 14 people originally indicted by the FBI, they said at the time of our initial response, we had not had the opportunity to check each and every one of our thousands of commercial contracts, and so the answer given was initially incomplete. So they're kind of doubling back on themselves, but transparency, I suppose. That is the reason why Gianni Infantino initially thought, based on the information provided by UEFA, there had been no previous UEFA contracts with any companies and or individuals named in the indictment. That is why FIFA gave this information to the media. So basically, in terms of what happens now, the revelations are potentially damaging for both Infantino and FIFA. And I said, it's the second setback for world football's governing body in recent days. As we said about the Damiani thing, facing an internal investigation into suspected links with Eugenio Figueiredo. It is a case of Infantino did pledge to restore the image of FIFA, and this does not look good. This does not look good at all. So, moving on to the 6th of April 2016, the officers of European football's governing body UEFA were searched by Swiss police. They have seized information about a contract disclosed in the Panama Papers that was signed by former UEFA General Secretary Gianni Infantino, now the head of global football body FIFA. Now, leaked documents suggested the Uruguayan Damiani and his firm provided legal assistance for at least 7 offshore companies linked to Eugenio Figueiredo, who was found to be allegedly corrupt. But the office of the Swiss Attorney General said the search of UEFA offices in Nyon was part of ongoing criminal proceedings and had been launched because of the suspicion of criminal mismanagement and misappropriation. It added criminal proceedings are in connection with the acquisition of TV rights and are at present directed against persons unknown. So UEFA and FIFA once again potentially getting dragged into the mire, but directly UEFA. Want to throw this out to the Skypers first and foremost. If anyone's jumping in on this, It's one of them ones. It is a massive point. Gezzie Fizzle, let me know via Skype if you're gonna jump in on this as well. But people, UEFA being dragged into yet more potential corruption. It's one of them ones. I mean, Jamie Bailey, or aka Jamie Bailey, do you want to jump in on this?
More corruption leads to more problems, right?
Of course.
So I'm assuming that's exactly what's going to be happening for the next time we hear about FIFA or Infantino's reign. It's a bit like the athletics as well. They can't seem to get away from banned substances because they don't really know what to do. So I think this is just another scheme of what people are saying, which is you've got money somewhere, release it, considering that all you're doing is not really paying your taxes and stuff like that for the countries that you're living in. If they're going to release certain things like that, then at least have a purpose, and I'm assuming that's the purpose, is making people aware of what top with their money. And then that's just FIFA in general. Whatever they can get away with, they will. And I'm pretty sure they've come up with another quick quick scheme whilst this is all happening. So good luck, FIFA. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a new board elected at some point with a new title, trying to get themselves away from FIFA altogether.
I mean, it's one of them ones where Gezzie Fizzle has said via Skype, I said that none of the candidates were suitable in regards to the FIFA elections. And at the end of the day, like he's also said, Infantino has made his election even more of a farce. If you go back to recent PTLIVE shows, we actually did discuss the FIFA elections, the build up to those elections, and our views in detail. Previous PT shows around about the middle to the end of February, and we actually went through that before the elections, and we've been through it before. The fact is, UEFA being dragged into this corruption thing, in terms of bribery and that, and being linked to it, for me, it just vindicates and basically bolsters what I've said for a number of years. And I know Gezzie Fizzle and the Gman and many of other regular PTLIVE listeners will agree to this and co-sign it. Fact of the matter is, I've said for a long time, when Platini was throwing stones and trying to bury Blatter, I said, you know what, UEFA is just as corrupt as FIFA. It just hasn't come out yet. And I said that a good year and a half ago at least. And now we're starting to see links. We're starting to see this stuff. We're starting to see this stuff come out. Now there are certain sentences that should be that we should bear in mind for the sake of balance. But one of them in particular, there is no evidence to suggest Infantino received a bribe relating to the 2006 contract with cross trading, and no suggestion that Telia Manozas was in any way complicit in any wrongdoing. But the fact is, Infantino is being linked to this because he signed off on the contract. Now, you always get told when signing a contract, look at the small print. Look at what you're dealing with. Look at who you're dealing with. Look at the small print. That's one thing, and do your due diligence. Especially if it's a big business deal, and this is a big business deal. This is to do with selling Champions League rights. You got to look at who you're doing business with. So I think it looks to me like this has not been done, and now people are getting in trouble for it. But it is one of them ones where, of course, Damiani being connected to Eugenio Figueiredo does not look good because of Figueiredo being allegedly corrupt and getting indicted in regards to the arrests that were happening last year before the FIFA elections. So it's one of them was, if you're linked to that, And this part of the reason why I said in terms of Infantino, it's like, yeah, him being linked to Platini and Blatter is not a good thing in my mind, perception-wise. And I did say this a few months ago. Perception-wise, never a good thing. Because you look at this, anything that comes out in relation to corruption is going to be looked upon as, it's one of them ones. You were basically Platini's right-hand man. You're replacing Blatter, and Blatter was linked to Platini and obviously to you as well. Doesn't really look that good. But this is the thing, though. I mean, it's one of them with Hugo Jenkins and his son fighting extradition from Argentina to the United States. I mean, it's one of them ones, like, US prosecutors have alleged that as owners of cross trading, they paid millions of dollars in bribes to South America football officials over several years to gain lucrative television rights for regional football tournaments. I mean, it is one of them ones where it's like, it's claimed the money was paid to senior football officials in exchange for cheap broadcasting rights that could then be sold on for a substantial profit. And the fact that it's related to Champions League rights, of course, that throws UEFA under the bus. And whoever signed off on those contracts, Infantino, who is one of them, who is one of the people who co-signed it, so one of them was, of course, you're going to get implicated. You are going to get directly implicated. So it's yet another scandal that does not help the image of football. It really doesn't. It really doesn't help the image of football. It doesn't help the image of the powers that be, especially when guys like Infantino are saying, yeah, I'm going to restore the image of FIFA. And then it comes out that you co-signed on a contract that is being investigated in relation to bribery. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good, does it? This is the thing. And if any of the Skypers want to jump in, just let us know. But the fact is, it just doesn't look good for the game, for Infantino, for anyone connected with football. It just does not look good. Just like Marcelo's diving simulation in midweek against Wolfsburg. It doesn't look good on anyone connected with the game when that kind of thing happens. Really doesn't. It just doesn't look good at all. So, I said though, that with this Panama paper scandal, it is one of them ones where it is a lot bigger than football. It is a hell of a lot bigger than football, which is the interesting thing about it. I mean, Gezzie, if there's any more you've got to add to this point, let me know. But it is one of them ones where it's just concerning. It's just concerning, and as Gezzie Fizzle said at the time, and as he brought up a minute ago, it's one of them ones where none of the candidates were really suitable anyway, but the best of a bad bunch had to be picked. And Gianni Infantino, I thought, was picked as a yes man anyway. So it's one of them ones where it's just getting even worse. This crap hitting the fan with leaked documents and that, it's just getting worse week by week, month by month, year by year. I mean, at least this stuff is coming out now. But the fact of the matter is, how deep does it go? That's the big question. I mean, it's just one of them ones, man. It's not good. It's just, as I said, it just really dismays me. This kind of thing just dismays me no end. And I just don't like the image of the game that we love, the game that we love talking about, the game that we love playing at the very, very top level is just being tarnished with this crap once again, because the few people that are the cliques that are corrupt within the game are not only letting it go, but they're involved in it, they're advocating it. And hell, it's time for a clear out in football. It really is. It really is time. It's time for a clear out in football. We've said it here for a number of years on PT Live shows, on PT Live videos. Enough is enough, and it's time for a change. It's one of them. Destroy, as we've said before, quoting the Nas tune from Stillmatic, destroy and rebuild. That's what it's time to do with FIFA, UEFA, among other entities as well. It's what it's time to do, destroy and rebuild. But I said it just doesn't look good on the image of football when like everybody and the world and his wife looks like they're all corrupt. It's just not good.